Easter eggs have always served an integral part of Halo, whether it's finding some funny dialogue line hidden away or something more involved or more creative. It's definitely one of our favorite things about the Halo franchise, being able just to jump in and discover stuff that maybe not a lot of people typically experience on their regular playthroughs. But oh boy, does it get juicy when there's an Easter egg that's just been sitting there right in front of us for years and no one even noticed. What if I were to say that there was a secret Halo Kart Easter egg involving mongoose racing that's just been in Halo 5 since its release, and 6 years later, no one had known about it or known how to activate the Easter egg, and we finally discovered it. Okay, so let's back up and get a little context first. On Sunday, being Easter, obviously, this tweet kind of went a little bit viral, especially in the gaming industry, just because a ton of gaming developers were chiming in with various Easter eggs that they hid in their games. Patrick Wren, who is a designer at Halo, just very casually tweeted a tweet that kind of sent the Halo community into pure chaos for the next 24 hours. He tweeted in response to that tweet, "There's a Halo Kart racing for 4-player co-op with mongoose in my mission evacuation. Winner gets heavy weapons at the end of the race." Now, putting the whole mongooses and mongoose debate aside, I really love how just casual this tweet was, just because it was tweeted not only very matter-of-factly, but also we were kind of in disbelief that no one had discovered something as iconic as a Halo mongoose race minigame or Easter egg hidden away in a main Halo game. A lot of people jumped on board, joining in the conversation, like General Kid or Duquesne23, who even questioned if anyone else had found it, and we got the confirmation that no one has actually found it just yet. Actually, Patrick responded in a tweet to the question as to whether or not anyone found it, saying that it was really difficult and not something that was messaged at all. Actually, it seemed like with the feedback, Patrick was pretty willing and open to finally let this Easter egg be solved and maybe give some guidance along the way, saying that it's very possible I'll have to give a hint or even tell you how if you can't figure it out. The main thing you need is 4 people launched into the game. Okay, so from there, the search was on, and while we're not the most familiar with Halo 5 Guardians campaign, just the idea of something that is definitely out there that hasn't been discovered was incredibly interesting, and we jumped in wanting to find and discover this stuff. So then, our 3.5-hour search on evacuation began later on that night. Luke and I jumped on Halo 5 with Rocket Dim Entree, and we even got General Kid on board to help us out for a bit, and we scoured the entire level, honestly looking into any little detail, any little thing that could possibly give us a lead into finding some mysterious Easter egg that would let us play Halo Kart for a minute. Here are a few things that we noticed along the way. First of all, there's this mongoose that's just parked up here on the right side on a ledge you can't get up to. You can't do anything with this mongoose. We tried throwing grenades at it, but we did think it was a little odd. It was just sitting there, and we thought that it was a major hint. Further down the road, we found this tiny little room where the lights only render on when you get close enough to them. We thought for sure that this had to be a secret room involved in activating or triggering this Easter egg. We didn't get anywhere with that. We may have had a suspicion that either the helmets on some of the Marines or just regular hard hats around in the level may have had something to do with it triggering them if we shot certain things in an alphabetical order. It was a theory. It didn't go anywhere, and it definitely was unrelated to solving the Easter egg. But hey, we were down to try anything if we were going to try to figure this Easter egg out. We tried doing some parkour on this fiery bridge, thinking that maybe somewhere out here there would be something that could trigger the Easter egg. But we were so confident that over in this specific corner there was this doorway, and we just thought, you know, this door looks pretty sus. There's something going on behind this door, and what if it opens up and then all of a sudden there's mongooses in there ready for us to go and do the race wherever that may take us. That was our working theory, so we spent a lot of time in that corner. We were over analyzing dialogue lines that characters were saying. Like at one point Buck said something about needing to hurry along, and we thought for sure that had something to do with the Easter egg, so we all grouped up on Buck to see what was going on, and that didn't lead to anything either. And after a while, General Kid had to get off, so instead we were joined up with Spartan Blood 01, a prominent member in the Forge community, and he's pretty familiar with the Halo 5 sandbox, so we were pretty optimistic about our chances with finding the Easter egg then, and we tried a few more things. This time I thought maybe this game took some inspiration from Star Fox 64 because there's these arches, and I thought if I drove the mongoose through all of the arches, it would maybe veer off a new type of pathway, like in the first level of Star Fox 64, and that would take us to some racetrack or something. It didn't work. So then we tried to see if we could glitch the mongooses all the way past the first area and get them into the end section of the level. While we did get them into the elevator, we didn't have too much luck at getting them past the elevator section, so we weren't really too positive that that would be an option either. So honestly, we're feeling pretty defeated, and we weren't sure if we would be able to discover this Easter egg, and actually we just kind of thought maybe someone else will find it, and we would just be happy that this Easter egg was somehow finally discovered after all this time. We gave up, we called it a night, but the next morning, things changed for certain. We got a simple tweet: 4 Spartans begin at the station to seek evacuation sensation to race out of the gate, simply stand there and wait, a duration of his designation. Okay, so then the hype was back on because we had all these theories that we were working with from the night before, but we weren't really sure of a couple of things along the way, and now that we knew we had to wait in a specific spot for a specific amount of time, it did open the door to a lot more possibilities. So immediately we wanted to jump on and try to see if we could uncover this, and as it turned out, Duquesne23 himself and his buddy GamerPeep Freaks were just setting up a live stream to try to find the Easter egg. I chimed in, asking if he needed a fourth, and matter of fact, he had room for a third and fourth, so Luke and I joined up, and now we had some collective minds to look into this Easter egg with the new information that we had. And from our search the day before, we knew that there were gates kind of spread all along the level. So hypothetically, if we went and waited at each gate for a certain amount of time, maybe we would be able to trigger something that could lead to the Halo Kart discovery. So we started things off kind of looking at this first gate, first area, and we thought theoretically, if we had to wait for a designation, Master Chief's number is 117. Maybe if we waited for 117 seconds, or 117 minutes maybe, perhaps something interesting could happen. So we decided we were going to go to every single gate in the level and stand in front of it for 117 seconds first, and then maybe we would try the minutes thing later on if we had reason to believe that, and see what would happen. So sure enough, we started up, we walked over to the gate, kind of looked around a bit, and stood there and waited, and you know, nothing happened. So then we thought, okay, let's move on to another gate. There was another gate just down the hill. It was a different color, and it looked like it could maybe lead into a new area. So we thought we would try standing in front of that gate for about 2 minutes or so. But the big thing that happened was Patrick Ran himself joined in on Duquesne's Twitch stream and kind of insinuated that maybe we weren't looking close enough at the instructions in the riddle. And that kind of gave us reason to go back to the beginning area at the first gate we looked at. And Patrick even went ahead and clarified that we had to get the Easter egg completed in the first 2 minutes, which solidified our idea that it was likely that first gate. So if we knew we had to stand there likely for what we suspected to be 117 seconds, but we still have to complete the Easter egg in the first 2 minutes of the level, that would mean we would have just 3 seconds to get behind the gate to trigger the Easter egg. So we started the level over and we rushed over to the gate. We went AFK for that 117 seconds. We had timers going and everything, and sure enough, we were teleported onto mongooses all of a sudden with a countdown timer, and we had finally managed to activate this Easter egg and pull it off, and honestly, the hype was so real. From there, all the enemies in the following sections are despawned, and you just get to cruise down the pathway and down through the level in your mongoose, and it's a pretty epic and lengthy race that's kind of really fun to play, maybe a little chaotic, but whoever gets to the end of the race course first, which goes all the way through the first driving area, over the bridge, into the next area, and up the hill gets a power weapon, and very obviously must turn around and shoot and kill all of his teammates with the rocket launcher. It's a pretty cool and pretty simple Easter egg. Reminds me a lot of the Reach Racing Easter egg from Oni Sword Base, but I do think it's really funny that we spent hours upon hours just the night before over analyzing, looking into any little piece of detail just for it to be something as simple as standing in a specific place. But had we not had that clue that we kind of had to do it in the first 2 minutes, I'm not sure we would have found it, because we would have stood in front of that gate like we did our first time, but we didn't necessarily know that it was a time sensitive Easter egg. So it still was really cool that we were able to be a part of the first groups of players to experience this, even if we needed a little bit of help from the designer himself. But hey, this is really cool. It's now a new strategy you could use on legendary difficulty if you're trying to just beat this level quickly and not have to worry about being shot at in the first mongoose area. We were curious if this would have implications for the speedrunning community, but it looks like they already fly through the first area of the level before 117 seconds would even be up, so it's probably not too much of something that would impact that side of things. But I 100% have to say, this does make me appreciate this level of Halo 5 just a little bit more, knowing that there's a secret like this that was hidden for so long and it only was uncovered recently. It's just a part of that same charm that we've appreciated from Halo over all of the years, and it seems like that theme is something that will continue to exist in Halo for years to come. Now, if we could just figure out some other mysterious Easter eggs that have existed for years and years, I'd be pretty content. But nonetheless, this was still an incredibly awesome experience just to kind of get to look into something new, especially something in Halo 5, which is one of those Halo games we're a little bit less familiar with. So it was actually a really interesting time. But if you want more videos like this, make sure you guys are subscribed with notifications on. Join our Discord. There's a link in the description down below. We'll see you all next time with a brand new upload.